Back in September, 73 TA soldiers from here in Portadown deployed on Op Herrick 13 alongside their regular colleagues in 1 Royal Irish. 6 months later, they're coming home. And among the first to touch down on Irish soil is Captain Doug Beattie, who's just completed his 13th operational tour.
He's no stranger to Afghanistan after tours in 2006 and 2008, but this time he found himself in the Nade Ali South region of Hellmand Province at Sydabad.
I think to my first 3 months, I think of one 3-week period in November where I was in contact with the insurgency every single day, sometimes twice a day, and it was sustained, accurate fire from the enemy. But in the main, we were able to force them back and create that time and space, and therefore the whole dimensions of what we're doing, certainly in the Nade Ali area, on that central belt of Hellmand, has changed incredibly.
The battalion has achieved its objectives on Herrick 13 thanks to the positive attitude of the troops on the ground, but that success has come at a price, and the deaths of Ranger Aaron McCormick, David Dalzell and more recently that of Lance Corporal Stephen McKee struck a very personal note.
Aaron McCormick was one of my soldiers who died, and I felt his loss bitterly, as if I'd known him all my life. Ranger Dalzell slept in a bed facing me for 3 months. And I got to know him. I got to know his nickname, Diesel. So I got to know what made that young man tick in his very short life. And even Stephen McKee, his wife lived next door to me when I was the RSM in Canterbury in 2002. So I knew the family as well, and I knew the family circumstances. So there's 3 men who have been killed from 1 Royal Irish. Who I am linked into, and I know that many more people within the battalion will be linked into them at various different levels. It affects us all. It affects us all deeply, but it never detracts from what we're doing. It's not a wasted life. These guys were doing something that they chose to do, and they were doing it well, and they were doing it for the good or the greater good of the people of Afghanistan.
Well known as a military author, personal accounts of Doug's other 2 tours in Afghanistan can be found on bookcases round the world. But he has no plans to add to the collection this time round.
I've got masses of material if I did want to write a book, but I'm most definitely not going to. If Colonel Weir would say to me, Doug, would you write a book about 1 Royal Irish's exploits? I'd be very proud to do that, but it would really be a 1 Royal Irish focused book. I am working on a novel which I started before I deployed to Afghanistan, which I put on hold, which I'm going to try and reignite now that I'm back. But there'll be no 3rd book about my exploits in Afghanistan.
But there's no stopping Captain Doug Beattie, reluctant to hang up his carbine. He isn't ruling out a 14th operational tour.
I became a TA soldier to serve, not just to do 2 weeks annual camp every year. So if there's a need to go and do another operational tour, then it's only right and proper that I would go and then do it. So I think there is one in me, but I'm getting on a bit. I'll be 47 by the time the next one comes up. So maybe people are saying to me, look, it's about time you retired. I think I've been retiring for the last 5 years. I think it's maybe it's getting close to that time now.